Okay, on this Snyder General GUA model furnace, let's go through a quick sequence on this thing. You can see the terminal board down there. Call for heat. The thermostat energizes the force fan relay. That puts 120 volt power to the fan. Now, there is the force fan drawing air in the top here. It's coming around and going down into the burner compartment. So we got 4 wires coming to this thing. We've got the 2 black wires. They are operating the motor. And these orange wires here, actually there's a switch in here. It's a centrifugal switch. And what that means is when the speed of the motor gets up to a certain point, the switch will close. Now I'm going to show you, there's a diagram on the motor. Okay, so you can tell what goes on in that motor. There is a diagram on the motor. Most parts have some sort of diagram that tells what goes on inside them. But if you look at this one, you can see the 2 blacks go to what looks like an electric heater, which isn't. That's actually the windings of the motor. And the 2 oranges are a normally open switch. That switch is shown as a manual switch. It really is not. It's a centrifugal switch. So it's going to switch on when a motor gets up to speed. Okay, once that proves by those yellow wires, one of the yellow wires is coming from the control board down there, from the control box, coming up through the motor, through that switch. The next place it goes, through all them silly wires, and it goes through the through this switch. Let's see if I can find. I don't know if you can see that. It's coming into the limit switch here, comes out here, goes up here, and this wire here, okay, goes up to this switch here, which is that pressure switch I told you about in the overview. Goes through the pressure switch. If the pressure switch is made, if it has the right vacuums or pressures from the force fan, comes down this wire here, down right into here, and this is your ignition control. Okay, it begins a sequence when power reaches this control. There's a time period which is a pre-purge. Then there's power put, or there's this switch inside here closes, and that puts power down to the hot surface igniter. Hot surface igniter wire right there going down. It energizes hot surface igniter. I think it energizes it for about 30 seconds. It's actually 17 seconds. And then trial for ignition. That means power runs from the board here. Then we get trial for ignition. That means we get power from the board here to the gas valve. The gas valve tries for ignition. And then the flame rod senses flame. Here's my flame rod sense wire coming from down on the other side of the burners. And if it senses flame, it continues to burn. Okay, at that point the temperature starts going up in the furnace. Here's our fan and limit switch. You should have seen that in some of the earlier videos I did on some of the older furnaces. When the temperature gets up to where the fan switch is ready to turn on the fan will come on and distribute the heat to the house. These are real simple, not much to these things. So very quickly, we'll go over this again. Power from the thermostat goes to the fan motor relay. The fan motor here starts up, closes the centrifugal switch. Then the wires go through the limit switch. The limit switch is closed. And then if this pressure switch, let's get up there, pressure switch, yep. Up to the pressure switch. If the pressure switch is closed, then it goes down to the ignition control, this is White Rogers control, and begins its sequence. Now all this wiring that's coming up here, this is all 24 volt. So there's no high voltage there. Begins a sequence, turns on hot surface igniter, gas valve comes on. If the flame senses temperature, or if the flame senses current, it continues to run, and the fan switch rotates until it starts a fan, and you're off and running. That's how the silly thing sequences. I'm going to take this forced draft motor apart, and we'll kind of look at it in a little bit, another video.